Dave here, and today we're talking about winter. Well, I know what you're saying. Oh boy, another winter video about all the do's and don'ts. No, that's not one of these videos. I just thought I'd give you a little bit of information of what I go through out here in the winter time and some tips and tricks I use to help make winter go a little easier. It doesn't have to be that hard. So in this video, we're going to be going over just some stuff I carry in the truck to help, out when it gets really cold outside. And, different kinds of tire chains and cables and stuff that you can or don't have to carry in your vehicle. I know a lot of states do require it on certain roads and whatnot, but most states don't. And just little tips and tricks and stuff that you can use to make winter just a little more bearable. So, here we go. First thing I'm going to talk about is cold water leaks. I have a cold water leak on this truck, and what a cold water leak is basically the expanding and contracting of metals and plastics in a cold environment. Well, the things shrink and it allows antifreeze or air to escape your different systems. I've got a couple of them on this truck. I got one air and one water, and I shot a little video of it this morning in Wisconsin, so here that is. We have a cold water leak going on here. I know it's kind of hard to see, but you can kind of see the outline of it here. Had to get it while it was cold because it will seal up once everything gets all heated up. But it's coming out of this rat's nest of hoses up here, so we're gonna have to find that. You can kind of see the scope of it here. So we've already checked the antifreeze and it's still up, so yeah, there you can see it. So we're gonna get that fixed here in a bit, and well, when I get back to Sioux Falls. Another thing that happens when it's cold is the air fittings loosen up and you start to bleed off air. So I have a little leak somewhere, and hopefully we can find that in the next day or two also. So the stuff I carry with me in the truck is all pretty straightforward. It's all fairly simple, and you can find a lot of this stuff at a bargain price. I don't really go crazy with it, but I do like to stay warm because, I make sure my bunk heater in the truck is functioning properly, and as well as the engine heat. But for my own personal comfort, this is what I do. You hear me talk a lot about spending the money. This is where spending the money helps. I got real good wool socks. Now, this is a throwback from my old Army days, and some of you vets will recognize this. This is just old long underwear. You can buy these at surplus stores, or you can get just as good as stuff at the Walmart. Spend the money on a good jacket. I bought a Carhartt. The stuff at Walmart will work, but you're not going to get more than just a couple months out of those. They're really, you spend a $25 on a jacket, you got a cheap jacket. It's a garage jacket. So I spent a little extra on this. I did buy it on sale, and I keep my gloves in the pockets, But another thing is coveralls. Spend the money on a good pair of coveralls, and these have been just a lifesaver. And I got a skull cap I carry. I also got a Maine hunter style cap, which is all ridiculous looking, but I can't seem to find it for some reason. Oh, here it is. Yeah, here we are. This hat. This is the most ridiculous looking hat you will ever own. But I'll tell you what, it will keep you warm, and I'm really glad I had it this last winter when it was 40 below. Kept my ears warm, kept everything warm, and it's all nice and furry. But granted, it's a ridiculous looking hat, but when it's 44 below and that's the ambient temperature, you can pretty much overlook ridiculous because everybody else looks like an idiot too. Now here's where spending the money really comes in. These are cold weather boots military surplus. Bought them at a surplus store, got a great deal on them. They are the exact same boots that the military wears up in Alaska. Great boots, got Thinsulate in them, really warm. I can't stress how nice they are. Keep my feet warm, allow them to breathe. And I only gave $70 for them, and they were surplus. Now, how do I know that they were surplus, actual military boots? The guy, I knew the guy that bought them, and they came out of the PX. The same place the PX gets them. And, you know, they're all tagged up and all that. So, yeah, they are actual military boots. These were about 80 bucks, I think 75, 80 bucks when all was said and done. And they're just as good as $200 Red Wings. They're great. Get a good pair of wool socks with them, you'll never have a problem. Your feet breathe. I wear them all winter long. So, spend the money on good boots, but you don't have to go crazy. So, just keep an eye out, and deals like this will come along. One of the things people tend to overlook during the winter time is their tires. It's important to make sure you have good tires going into the winter time. You know, you can run your winter tires out. They get pretty thin during the summer, and granted, tires should last you a couple of years on a regular car. On my semi, I put about $150,000 a year on these tires, so on average I change them out about once every year and a half, and I change my steers out at least once a year. But it's important that you take care of these. When inspecting your tires for winter, make sure that the sidewalls are in good shape, there's enough tread, and you don't have anything coming off them. You know, they need to stay properly inflated so they will wear properly, because if an underinflated or an overinflated tire, you'll get half-life minimal out of it. So just keep up with that. Now here's where I'm probably going to lose a few people. I'm not a big fan of used tires, especially on the truck. You know, I've used tires before. They'll get you to the next thing, but you need to know if you put used tires on, in a couple months you're probably going to be changing them again. And like, for instance, when I put those used tires on my Crown Victoria, I paid $40 a piece for them. But those aren't permanent. Those are just rollers. They'll get me to the next thing. If that was my daily driver, I would have put brand new tires on it. So that's something to think about, because brand new tires for that car are kind of expensive, but your standard, you know, 195 or 205 14s, those are actually, they start at like $59. So, you know, you can get them pretty cheap at Walmart. I don't recommend using Walmart, and that's just me. I've seen them break too many things. But if you got a good tire guy you go to, like I go to Alex, you know, I bought the used tires from him, but I could have bought new. He sells new. Or I could have gone up to the Mega Tire store, or the Big O, or the Bosley's, or whatever there in Wichita, and they would have done me right. I bought a set of hand cooks from a pickup truck for $59 a piece, mounted and balanced. It was, altogether, it was like $265 out the door. So that's something to think about. Yeah, it was something like that. 265. No, I'm sorry, but it's always important to figure out what you're going to do with the vehicle, and try to buy new if you can, because you're going to thank yourself. They'll get you through the winter. They'll get you through maybe even the next winter if you still have the car. And if the tires are in good shape, they are a selling point with the car if you decide to sell the car in the spring. So it's something to think about. Now, I did touch upon tire chains just a little bit, and that's a touchy subject with a lot of truck drivers. But a lot of states do require them, and a lot of guys do carry them, even though they will never use them, and they have all the excuses, and I'm not going to go into that because it's a stupid argument. I don't have tire chains right now because the chains I have were off the old truck, and I had a different size tires, so I need to get a new set of them. But that being said, there are 3 basic sets you can use for the truck. Just the regular traditional chains. You got the singles and the 3 railers, and they just strap on, like we all know how they go on. And the cables. I'm not sure if the cables are 50 state legal. Somebody said they are. Some of them said I have been too lazy to find out. And the other one is the automatics. Now, if I was running in the Rocky Mountains and I was going up the mountains every day, I would have a set of automatics on here. I've got some pictures of those, and I will show you what those look like in a minute. And the other ones are called tire socks. Now, they're basically tires, they're like bags that go over the tires. They're crazy. People love them, say they work great, but they are rather expensive, and from what I understand, they are 50 state legal. The problem I have with those is they are so prohibitively expensive for what they are. And I've been told if you spin out and hit asphalt with them, they will, and you chew a hole in them, they're shot. They're no good anymore. So I would be very leery of those, just because of that. Now, if there's anybody here who's used them and has had success with them, I'd love to hear about it. But also, you know, with the tire chains, sometimes it's nice to have a good set of them, because I have gotten stuck in parking lots. I was at a Slumberland, and I'll show you some pictures of that. I was at a Slumberland in Billings. When I shut down, it was 50 and sunny, and I woke up and there was 2 feet of snow. So yeah, I did that 3 years ago, 3 years ago. So you kind of have to have the chains. You don't really need them to go down the road a lot, but sometimes when you get stuck in a parking lot, it's nice to have, because you know you can get out. These are tire chains. These are bungees. I like these. When you're looking at the chains, you got to make sure you get the right size, because that's all important, because one size does not fit all on these. These bungees are pretty popular for tire chains, 2 to 3 per chain. And just make sure you get one that's not too short but not too long. You need a good mid-length. Like this is a good size here. You're gonna have to need some tension on the chain. These are the tire socks I was talking about. Yeah, for that price, I'm not taking the risk. One of the neat things you can have in your vehicle during cold weather, and one of the best things you can have, is a weather radio. I highly recommend, and most cars have them. People don't know about it. The weather radio can tell you a lot of things. It can tell you if it's snowing. It can tell you wind speeds. It can tell you a lot of information up and down the interstate and where you're going. In the semi-truck, I also have the CB, but that's kind of passé now. A lot of people talk on it. When the weather gets a little flaky, people do. But a weather radio will give you a lot of information, and it's built into most cars now. So that's something to look into. Just a little hint. Make sure that when you buy washer fluid for the winter, it's got that on it, because you don't want it freezing up inside the engine. There's a bunch of cold weather anti-gel. You can get it a lot cheaper at Walmart, trust me, but this will help you in the cold weather. I use this stuff a lot, but you can get this stuff for literally half that at Walmart. A lot of these chemicals and whatnot, washer fluid, oils, antifreezes, I highly recommend going to the big box stores if you can go. Don't buy them at truck stops or gas stations. You're gonna overpay by a lot. And if you're on a budget like the rest of us, you know, that house, that's $10 cheaper a bottle at Walmart. Literally, $10 a bottle cheaper. The oil is $10 to $12 a gallon cheaper. The antifreeze, $8 to $10 a gallon. If you have a diesel and you have to put DEF, you know, go to Walmart. If you buy it there, don't buy it at a truck stop, because you're going to pay 6 times the amount of what you pay for it at a pump. If you got to buy it at a pump, take an old bottle or a jug to the diesel pump and fill it up at $2.85 a gallon. You'll be happy you did. So and your windshield washer fluid, it's $1.58 at Walmart. It's $4 at the truck stop. So just do some good shopping and try to save some money. Well, that's about it. Nothing too incredibly earth-shattering. I just wanted to give you all a little glimpse of what I go through, and hopefully, you know, some of these little things that I look at will help you get ready for winter yourself. You know, just make sure your tires are inflated. You've got plenty of antifreeze, not water. Make sure you got a good mix of antifreeze, because if you get too much water, you could wreck your engine if it gets too cold. You know, make sure your wipers are good. Make sure your defroster functions. These are things you should do while it's still warm. So just have a good, safe winter, and hopefully this video has been a little help. And it wasn't too terribly in-depth or long. Probably a little longer than I thought it would be. But, you know, have fun, safe travels, and we'll catch you next video.